Guys, we have our first look at Supreme Leader Snoke in the flesh, quite literally, thanks to some leaked photos for The Last Jedi, and I want to talk about it. What is up, YouTube? It's Josh. This is the Den of Nerds. Guys, I was hoping some Star Wars news would drop because I've been doing a lot of comic book stuff lately, and don't get me wrong, I love the comic book stuff, but I think if you've been watching this channel for some time now, you know I really love me some Star Wars. I'm a fan of the War of the Stars. And we got a nice little nugget where some photos dropped earlier today, and I heard about them a little bit late, but I figured, hey, I've been looking for a Star Wars story. Let's cover these photos. Now, here's the thing. I'm putting the photos up in the video right now. Most of them don't mean shit. Most of them are just photos. They don't really hint towards anything. They don't really do much for me, but the photograph of Supreme Leader Snoke is quite interesting, and it made me think of all the theories that I've had for Supreme Leader Snoke, and it made me think of something in particular which I'll share at the end of the video with you guys. But essentially, I wanted to talk about this photograph that I'm putting up right now. This is our first look at Supreme Leader Snoke. Now, a couple of things pop off to me right away. This more or less confirms something that we had heard about for a while now, and that was that Snoke, in his original design, was going to be beautiful, and they kind of morphed him and made him ugly, and the whole story is now in canon that once upon a time, he was beautiful. Okay, so this picture definitely lets me think that. I mean, like, this is a really fucked up face, right? I mean, Snoke's got a really ugly mug, but you can see in here with the flesh tones and the strong blue eyes and certain other things like that, you know, just his jawline in general, the shape of his face, he could have been very beautiful. Once upon a time, this could have been a beautiful spaceman of whatever, descendancy he is. And that, you know, that kind of does it for me. It kind of shows me, like, you know, that's cool. He could have been beautiful. That kind of ties into what my most current theory on Snoke is. Also, I think that the gold robe is kind of cool because it's not as bling bling as we thought it was going to be. Like, when we heard all those reports, you know, you hear things coming from Making Star Wars, or, you know, there's things being shared on Reddit and different things like that, and it's like, look, the dude rocks around in a gold robe with this badass pimp ring, and we're thinking, oh shit, like, is he like a big time rapper? Like, you know, is he all about the bling and the bling and all that? Like, you know, that felt a little not Star Wars. When I see this gold robe, it totally feels Star Wars. Just the way that it's put together, the way that there's the little rivets and the break in the fabric, it feels spacey, it feels Star Wars. It still feels regal, and I bet when we get a little bit of distance away from it, it'll look even more regal. But overall, this definitely looks Star Wars as fuck to me, which is really cool. So overall, I think this is like a great design for Snoke. I also think it's going to be very interesting to go from the hologram Snoke, which was creepy, almost vampire-like, to going to this Snoke, who is a little bit more fleshed out. He feels a little more real. I really hope we get some screen time with this guy, and I hope it's pretty epic. He's, of course, going to be puppet. So I assume that this is the puppet that we're looking at here, which is amazing. I mean, like, holy crap, this thing looks incredible. You know, they said there was going to be 12 people working on this thing, and we all assumed that was because it was so big. Well, what if it's 12 just to make it look really intricate, to make his face move in a way that's really believable? That could be awesome and really cool. So, you know, looking forward to that. Now, my current theory on who and what Snoke is, and you'll already know this if you've been watching the channel for some time, is that he is a will. He is a fallen will. Okay, and as soon as I saw this photo, it reminded me of a conversation I had with James from the Rebel Scum podcast and Pablo Hidalgo on Twitter. We were tweeting him while doing a video that I think ended up on James's channel. I'm not entirely sure, but we were tweeting him during this video, and we were asking about the Force priestesses and the training of Qui-Gon by a shaman of the will, and all these different connections that we were making, you know, because we're super nerds about Star Wars. And Pablo essentially said that the will stuff ended up in Clone Wars anyways. And then I kind of was like, oh, so those were the wills with a picture of the Force priestesses. And he shot it down and made like this huge point to kind of shut it down and spent time with us on Twitter, which I found very interesting. Here's the thing. As soon as I saw this, it made me think of the Force priestesses. There's just something about it being right in your face like this, super fleshed out, and getting a real sense of it that makes me think, yes, this matches up pretty perfectly to the image of the Force priestesses. The neck size is about the same. The ears look like they would be about the same. You could see the mask going over top of there and make essentially the same silhouette. I believe it was Walt Disney that said a great character is one that you can recognize immediately by silhouette. And I think if you silhouette this character and you silhouette the Force priestesses, they match up pretty freaking closely. Somebody do that. Oh, and small point here. One thing that I've seen a lot of, because we've seen a lot of, footage from Snoke. We've seen his body, that weird CGI thing where it's all folded up, all funky. We've seen this. We've seen sketches. We've seen art design. We've seen all sorts of things. This is definitely the best look, though. But we've seen a lot of stuff in the past. Guys, I don't know if we've ever seen Snoke's feet. That sounds weird, but I want you to think about this. The Force priestesses have that very distinct foot design, almost like a Ninja Turtle. And if they really are wills, or some form of the will from the cosmic force, then Snoke having that same kind of a foot would be a dead giveaway that that's what he was as well, okay? So, I don't know. If you have found a picture of Snoke's foot, please bring it to my attention, because it stuck out to me. It was really weird. I had never seen his feet. And I think we'll see them in The Last Jedi, and I think it might give us a hint as to who and what he is, mainly that he is a fallen will. So, also, there's just something kind of angelic about this look at Snoke. And if you watch the video I do about the wills, I really believe that we're drawing parallels to like a fallen angel and Lucifer, and that Snoke is going to be like a fallen will and like a devil of the Force, so to speak, which could be really, really cool. So that's kind of what I wanted to do this video about, guys. These photos are pretty dope, particularly the Snoke photo. I think it's awesome that we get this kind of a look at him, and I'm really hoping that he looks like this in the film. I hope this isn't some fuck up from some idiot who took a photo that's not going to actually be a proper rendition, because I've already fallen in love with this Snoke. I'm going to have a poster of this on my wall with some hearts around it, because I love Snoke. Hashtag I love Snoke. You heard it here first. Alright, so that's all I got in this video, but I want to hear from you guys. Let me know, what do you think about these photographs? What do you think about the first official look at Supreme Leader Snoke? And what's your theory on Snoke? Do you think he's a will? Let me know in the comments section. As I always say, I hope you are having an awesome and nerdy day. See ya!